Another one again, Aisha Buhari wants the allowances of her children to be paid. How Aisha Buhari ousted State House Permanent Secretary for refusing illegal directives. Aisha Buhari, the wife of President Muhammadu Buhari, has been revealed to be the driving force behind the ouster of the recently redeployed Permanent Secretary of the State House, Jala Ahmed Arabi. Numerous sources have revealed that Arabi, a seasoned technocrat and civil servant, has been redeployed to the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, following a spat with the president's wife, which involved a directive from Mrs. Buhari for the permanent secretary to pay escorts to her children when they travel on foreign trips. Additionally, following a directive from President Buhari for all the children in the first family of Nigeria to only be flown on business class, in order to cut down on the cost of travel, Mrs. Buhari is said to have tried to flout the president's order by ordering the former permanent secretary to book first-class tickets for her children on future trips, a directive that the permanent secretary rebuffed. Arabi is said to have explained to the president's wife that he was unable to pay escorts to her children when they traveled, as they were not civil servants or political appointees. During the permanent secretary's tenure, sources also revealed that Mrs. Buhari is also attempted to direct Mr. Arabi to provide her with the sum of 2 million naira a month for healthcare expenditures, which was also declined by the permanent secretary. Prior to Arabi's redeployment from the State House, the situation between the permanent secretary and the First Lady came to a head when she explicitly attempted to direct him to pay her aides for days than they were entitled to on foreign training and meetings. Due to Arabi declining Mrs. Buhari's request, the president's wife is said to have started insulting the permanent secretary, following which a shouting match ensued. Mrs. Buhari is said to have immediately contacted the SGF to send over one of her key allies, the SY Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Tijani Idris Umar, to immediately replace Arabi for insubordination. In a circular issued by the head of service to the Federation, Folashade Yemi Esan, on 23rd March 2020, Arabi has now been posted to the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, while Tijani has assumed his role as the State House Permanent Secretary. Well, it is not a new thing. They will tell you, oh, protocols here, protocols there. And, you know, of course, a lot of people know that a lot of things have been happening in that ASO Rock, that most of the time Aisha always try to come and explain to the people and what have you. If we want to look at it, you know, apart from insinuations here and there, if we really want to look at this whole thing from a different perspective or from the real points of view, you know, you just be wondering that why is it that this woman is always having problem with almost everybody. The first, you know, people she had encountered with were the Kabas. She was always talking about the people, somebody like Mama Daura, Abakiare, and the rest of them. Well, those two people are more prominent when it comes to Kabas. You know, we have maybe they have other people that were within the Kabas. We don't know, but those two people are really, we have been hearing their names. The recent one that happened in December was herself, and again, the president's spokesperson, the person of a Gabashiu, you know, she was talking about not obeying the directives of her husband, and that this man, the Shehu Gaba, that her husband appointed, will be obeying the directives of other people who were not even, who did not even employ them. So employ him, and some other things that have been happening in that ASO Rock. You know, she has always been coming out to say many things, which a lot of people are insinuating to other things. But just like I said, if we want to base it or judge this whole thing, I don't know why it's like that. But one thing that is certain is that the man is not in charge, because her husband cannot be there and she'll be taking some decisions. you know, that's not buttress to what people have been insinuating. You might want to put one or two things together, because she's always coming out to bring out what usually happens in ASO, which we are not even supposed to be hearing. The public is not supposed to be hearing, because there's already a crack in that area. That is why you see that a lot of things are always coming out. I think when she traveled to the UK one time, when she had a when there was a video that went viral, and when they asked her, she said yes, she was the one inside the video, because you know, from all indication, people were like, oh, a lot of people might not be able to recognize her voice, and also because the face was not showing there. But she just came back, and because she knew that quite alright, those who really know her voice very well will testify that okay, she was the one in that video. You know, anything could happen. For the fact that her face was not showing on that video, she would have denied it, but she just said she was the one in that video, and a lot of things have been happening and all of that, and a lot of Nigerians were able to put one or two things together. But all those people were always coming to say, oh, fake news and this and that. They couldn't even deny it, but they were just trying to hinge on some other videos that came out around that period. But that being said, you know, always coming out to have issues with some of the people, whether she has the right to be paid, or for her children to be paid, or she to be paid, or her aides to be paid some kind of money, you know, is neither here nor there, because you know a lot of shenanigans have been going on in this country. A lot of things, a lot of constitution, a lot of law, a lot of things that are supposed to have been changed, they will not change it. I think there was a time, the initial time the husband was coming, that oh, the office of the first lady will not be there, that the woman's title is going to be first, the wife of the president. But as soon as they came in for the second time, the woman just changed the song, say no, I want to be addressed as the first lady. And you know, that's why people started like, you know, these people are not really serious. They just deceived Nigerians with a lot of things, and people thought, okay, there's going to be change in many things. But as we speak now, there is nothing like change, and we are seeing that it's even worse than what we used to know. The atrocities and the shenanigans we used to know, what we are experiencing now, it has gotten to another scale. But the question is that, why is it that if we are not to go by rumors, insinuations here and there, who is in ASO Rock, who is not in ASO Rock, but one thing that is pertinent is that the man is not in charge. Somebody is not in charge of that place. That is why this woman is always coming out, because in the first place, everybody would have just fallen in line. Because if there's anything, the man will call the woman to orders. No, the woman, no, you are not doing this thing right. Don't just bother. What do you really need? The man would have just, okay, let me just give it from my pocket and just forget all those things. Well, because there's a vacuum that has not been filled. Something is missing there. Whether you want to insinuate it to other things, it's a different ballgame entirely. But what we are talking about is that for her to be coming out and for all of these things to be leaking out, some people will come and say, yo, it's fake news. We can't debunk it completely, because worse things like more than this have happened in the past, and they could not deny it. So what else are you going to be saying? So it just shows that there's no coordination. There's no coordination as far as this government is concerned. There's no proper coordination. That's why this woman can be coming out, because to me it's an embarrassment for all of this kind of it to be happening. It's an embarrassment to all of them as a whole. So that's just what I feel about it. But let's hear what people are saying again. Someone says, write anything against her, but Nigerians still loves her. That's what somebody's saying there. Someone say, are you the spokesperson for Nigerians? Love her for what? Don't say Nigerians. Say you love her because of her request for obstacles to be paid to her children, who neither an appointees of federal government nor elected. Gullible human being. That's what you are. Just like I said, you know, everybody's entitled to their opinion. I'm even looking at it from a different perspective in the sense that why should all of this be coming out? Because if there's a proper coordination in that place, we wouldn't be hearing all of this. She will not even be the one to be coming out and be telling somebody, you have to do this, you have to do that, because there's no proper coordination. Like I said, whether she's supposed to be paid or her children or whosoever to be paid any amount, is neither here nor there. They know how they deal with their things. We are not there, because by the time, like all those people that collect all this kind of humongous allowances, even from the politicians, they will start telling you, oh, they have this in the constitution and what have you. And you know, that is why they try to pride themselves in what they collect, unlike what the masses see as illegal. But because we don't know, we are not privy to a lot of things that are there, and you see that in the recent, most of all those things are illegal, but they have been inculcated, they have been put in the constitution that even there is no court of law that will tell you that they are wrong. So that is just the way it is. So whether children need to be paid or what have you is neither here nor there. But what I'm saying, my own opinion, is that there is no proper coordination. That is why we are hearing all of these things. And someone says here that there is more to this story. Everything seems to be revolving around the First Lady, painting her with a negative pictures of corruption. I don't know her with this attitude. What is 2 million naira a month for health expenditure to our First Lady? Can we hear the other side of the story? Things don't just happen. Somebody must be involved. Waiting for scene 2 of the story. And someone says, where is the husband, Buhari, in all this drama? Make una reason well. Wife of the president, a first lady, begging a mere permanent secretary to pay her children's Esther code. Where is the president? Of course, just the same thing I was talking, no proper coordination, and something is really fishy somewhere. But you might not be able to pinpoint what is happening, but something is definitely wrong somewhere. Someone say, any intelligent reader will pick holes from this article. This is clearly an attempt to launch a political vendetta, whatever that it is, you know. Say it's neither here nor there. This is the final level for a government fighting corruption. So after flying first class, they will not die, right? Wicked set of rulers. Someone says she's a fox. And it is a lie. We don't believe your stories. Okay, let me make inquiry for her. Good and fine. Of course, the worst things that have happened before, more than this, she has not come out to deny it. Worst things have happened before in the past. Aisha Buhari can only fight for her immediate family, but she doesn't care about other people's plight. She doesn't care about millions of Nigerians who cannot afford to eat one good square meal a day. That is selfishness in the highest order. Of course, tomorrow you are going to be hearing a lot of things, but one thing that is pertinent is that there is no proper coordination. There is loophole somewhere. So guys, let's hear your opinion concerning all of this. Leave your comment below and let's have your take.